Do you know Tanchjim? They have a very good sounding set. It's called the Tanchjim Origin. It's priced around $250 to $260. And they also have the Tanchjim Fission, which is priced around $100. What if I tell you that they actually sound 95% the same? Good day guys, this is Practiphile, and today we're going to take a look at Tanchjim Fission. Thank you so much HiFiGo for sending this in for a review. My thoughts are my own, they didn't say anything about what to say in this review. And yeah, the Tanchjim Fission is priced around $100, $111, 100, sometimes $130, depends on the seller. It's sitting in my 61 to 120 price category, and there are some good sounding earphones here. But let's just start with the unboxing. Man, Tanchjim, when I think of Tanchjim, their boxes really good. Like when you open them, it just like everything, man, it doesn't really feel cheap. Like even with everything that they do, there's embossed in here. The box is like, it's oozing with quality, and the attention to detail on Tanchjim is just exquisite. The IMs were sitting here, and it comes with different types of interchangeable connectors. You have the Type-C, the 4.4, and the 3.5. Yeah, and the ear tips and some manuals, and they don't really have a carrying case, they have a carrying pouch. The interchangeable nozzles, I got it figured out actually. I got it figured out because there are letters here. There are letters. Just bear with me. I need to see the letters. Oh yeah, it's a T. The T actually stands for titanium, the material, and then C, the gold one, is copper. And what I have here is the S, which is silver? No, stainless steel. So that's what it stands for. So just different material type. And I'm gonna talk about that later. You have this screw here because there are different tuning options that you can do with the Fission. So yeah, that is it for the unboxing. I really like how they packed it into this small box, just oozing with quality, attention to detail. Typical of a Tanchjim product. All right, so let's now move on to the IMs actually. So it looks like this one here. Cable is okay. It's yeah, expected for the price. They're a little bit tangly. Fit though, like they fit okay. Like you don't really feel anything, but I just noticed after long hours of listening, like 2 or 3 hours of listening, this part here actually pushes the upper ear or the upper pinna, so it may depend on your ears. This is just for me. Yeah, I just felt that I just feel, you know, like it touches here, and especially if you're moving around, it kind of like pulls the IM and it irritates my upper ear. So it's maybe just me. It may be different for you. And of course, they have different switches. As you can say, 4 switches each actually, and I think they are atmosphere, natural, monitoring, and pop. Let's just look at the graph here. All right, the graph of the Fission looks like that one over there. That is stock, the stainless. Fuck. All right, very good. Look at that, you know, like Tanchjim Fission stainless atmosphere. The atmosphere is like the stock tuning. It's pointed to the nozzle. So of course, I did the different ones. I have the titanium. There we go. And we have the copper atmosphere. So the titanium is, yeah, kind of like lower in the bass and elevated upper mids. I don't know why. Maybe it's a different filter, or if it's the same filter, then maybe it's the material that does this. But yeah, that's what I get. And then the copper and the stainless steel are very identical. Look at that. Just, you know, like, no, I can't tell the difference on listening. All right, so those are for the nozzles. Now let's move on to the switches. All right, so let's just focus more here on the stainless steel, okay? Now what the switches does is you go 12 o'clock and you get pop. Basically you get a lesser bass shelf, and then you go 9 o'clock, that's natural, and you have lesser bass, and you go 6 o'clock and they call it monitoring, and you have a much lesser bass. I don't listen to any of the switches except for the atmosphere at 3 o'clock. I don't see the point why they did that. And okay, let me just explain something here. So let's say for example in monitoring, all right? I don't think this is for monitoring. This is not flat because flat has bass, okay? What I mean by that is, for example, I use this, just for example, I don't have speakers and I use this for mixing a track, which technically doesn't have bass. What I will do is I am going to overcompensate, add bass, and on the final mix, it's gonna get really bassy, especially when consumers listen to, like they listen to like bassy sets, they listen to bassy speakers, it's gonna get really bassy. So my point is, a flat measuring speaker or earphone actually has bass. It has bass. This is not for monitoring, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna focus on the atmosphere here. And yeah, this one here, it sounds very balanced, almost close to neutral actually. You can see there, it's like the gain is almost following my target. It could use a little bit more bass so that, you know, to make it more sound engaging. But yeah, again, it's good on its own. Yeah, it actually sounds the same to Origin. Bass doesn't really bleed into the mids. You get a really good gain in there. Maybe some people don't like this too forward upper mids. For me personally, I don't mind because, you know, my library consists of a lot of female vocals and some males too. You don't hear any treble peaks in there, just very smooth sound overall. All right, so let's score this one here. So if you want to know how I score sets, check my description right here, the link right here. So for tonality, it is, yeah, again, it's balanced sounding, just good sounding overall. But I do feel that the attack is a little bit softer, and maybe it's because of a tamer treble in there. So for tonality, I'm giving it 2.5. It's not bad. I actually like it because it's smooth sounding. It is really smooth sounding. For the bass, again, I would have liked it to have a little bit more, because even if I overlay my neutral target in there, it's, you know, like there's emphasis in there in the mid bass, but there's also a gain. Maybe it's just the limitation of the DD, but yeah, for the bass, I'm just giving it 2.5. It could have been better maybe. I just feel like it doesn't quite have that impact and tightness that I like. So yeah, that's for the bass. But overall, it's not really bad. It matches the signature quite fine. For the mids, man, the mids on this, they sound natural, organic, you name it. It's just very smooth sounding. So I tried it, you know, with my drums, and everything sounded okay. The cymbals were fine. The toms, the floor toms, the snares, everything was all natural sounding. I didn't hear any timbral inaccuracies, so perfect mids on this. 3. Treble, again, I would have wished that there was a little bit of extension going on in there. The trail end of the treble is a little bit softer in attack. I would have liked it to have a little bit more body. So it's maybe just the, I don't know, maybe it's the tuning, or maybe it's the DD that they're using, but I do feel like it could have used a little bit more body. But then again, the good thing is you also don't hear any peaks. It's just really smooth overall. So the treble for this one here, it's 2.5. And lastly, for the technicalities, yeah, I don't know, man. For the technicalities though, like it's just decent for the price really, because like in this price range, there are good sounding sets, you know, like very engaging. And I don't know. For the Origin though, although it sounds really good, it was also a little bit underwhelming for me, especially for the price. And it's the same with the Fission. So technicalities on this one, it's probably just okay. I'm just giving it a 2, and that is a total of, that's 12.5, and 12.5 for me is 8. Yeah, it's 8. Generally better than other sets, very good for the price, but the tonality might not match for your preference. What I'm saying about the tonality is you may like a bassier set, or you may be a treble head. This may be not for you. All right, so let's move on now to the comparisons here. The first one that I can compare, of course, in the price range right here in 60 to 120 is the Kima 2, my beloved Kima 2. Look at that, and they're very close. Probably the only difference is the Kima just sounds more. There's more body to the Kima 2, if that makes sense. And the Fission is softer in attack. So I would say that if you want a more natural sound, maybe a little more bass body and treble body, go for the Kima 2. If you want something that is softer, you know, like you want to listen to it long time and you don't want to get bothered that you're listening to music, then get the Fission. Next one is, in this price range, we have the Magic 1, because it did resemble the first time because of that softer attack, because the Magic 1 is a BA, right? So I did feel like, oh, okay, this sounds reminded me of the Apple Magic 1. The Magic 1 is a single BA set, also very good, and the DD, I mean not the DD, the bass also resembled a little bit because I felt like the Magic One has like that BA bass. It's not a DD, but I felt like the Fission with this bass elevation, it could have had a better impact, but no, it didn't really have that. Like, it's really up to you. I probably choose the Fission here because of just the overall smoothness and the treble, because the Magic One can have elevation and a treble there, but it's really up to you. Both are actually great sets, so if you want single DD, then Fission, BA, then Magic One. Next one here is the Galileo. Let's show Galileo right there. So as you can see, the Galileo sounds more balanced. They share a similar trait wherein the upper treble or the treble is a little bit tame, but I feel like the Galileo has more 3D spacing and more, I feel like the treble quality on the Galileo is also a little bit better. So for this one here, I think I'd pick the Galileo, but you know, the Galileo is like, how old is it? Like 3 years old, I guess, 2 years old. So it's really up to you. If you want a smoother sound, maybe the Galileo. If you want single DD, then Fission. So as you can see, you know, like it's really hard to recommend the Fission because there's already some sets that are good sounding in this price category. What the Fission looks like though, comparing it to more expensive sets that I have, is the Duno Falcon Ultra right there. As you can see, the Duno Falcon Ultra graph-wise looks more contrasty, a little bit more bass and a little bit more treble. Also, the Duno Falcon Ultra has more clarity, if that makes sense. When I listen to the Duno Falcon Ultra, it just sounds more organic, and I mean, the Fission is not far behind, but I just feel like the Falcon Ultra has that ultra hi-fi sound. So yeah, I think that is it for the Fission, guys. I do think this is a good release from Tanchjim because they lowered the price down of the Origin. Maybe the only difference is the shell. I'm not sure if they're sharing the same driver. But yeah, for $100, make sure that you know the tonality you're looking for. If you want a reference single DD, maybe this is a good pick. But you know, just letting you know that there are also good sounding sets around this price range, like the Kima 2 and even the DZ4. It's also neutral sounding. But hey, there are options. It's good to have options. So yeah, that is it for my review of the Tanchjim Fission. If you think my content is helpful for you, consider liking and subscribing, and that's it for now. Have a great day and see you next time.